scared, drinking cocaine. No kidding, I'm ready to fight.
Oh, shit.
Wow. All right, so we'll ask a couple of questions that we ask everybody. How about you guys got a Spinal Tap moment you could share with us? Either
Which
together
one?
or separate.
Yeah,
like whatever would
together,
be funny.
apart.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Amsterdam seems like it was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun
good.
moment. That wasn't a Spinal Tap moment.
Right.
Yeah, well,
We should have talked this before. Yeah.
I got some. The problem is, just, you
Don't
know,
tell that
we
one.
want to talk about the beer bottle.
what was the beer phone?
No, we don't want to do that.
Well,
It doesn't matter.
well, there's that one. There's the there was
There's the
2 minutes and 30 seconds we played the G chord in Indianapolis.
yeah. There's that one, and then the fun was like a greetings in Spain, backstage, and I don't have a problem saying this, but we're like, you know, this promoter lays a bunch of like, and we're not big drug heads, but if you're real tired, you know, sometimes the cocaine thing kind of it was creeping in. And so we ended up. Remember, we were backstage, and there's like in this room, and they shut this door. Not backstage, kind of in the front of the building. They shut this door, and the band's playing, but it locks from the other side. So here we are, a bunch of gacked out dudes in a locked room for like a whole hour. Like it was just insane. That was Spinal Tap.
Yeah, that was.
Sorry, I don't mean to. You know. I don't care. Like I said, I'll talk about anything, whatever, man. You know. But yeah, that was a good one, and then
The beer bottle.
the
Okay,
beer
yeah.
bottle's great.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
Needless to say, I kind of got a good reputation with the crew guys in the Midwest.
Okay.
Kind of like got this little legendary thing. Because there's, you know, certain artists that every now and then are hard to work with.
Right.
Well,
No.
we had an instance where we were doing I put together with a promoter a package where we, as Pat's band, was the core band that played behind Pat Travers. We did 445s, played behind Pat Travers, Derek St. Holmes,
Wow.
Nugent. We played behind Ronnie Montrose and Mark Farner.
Wow.
Legends.
Okay. Before we started all this and the negotiation process, Mark Farner was the easiest one to deal with. Ronnie Montrose was like a stickler to the point that it's like, oh my God, he's going to wear us out. We get together, it was a complete 180. Ronnie Montrose was the most laid back, cool, total positive energy, man, just positive energy. Whoa. Okay. Mark Farner was the one you had to jump through hoops with at times. Well, we had already worked out our song list and stuff, and we had our set songs. Well, all of a sudden, after I don't know how many shows in at a sound check, Mark's like, hey, we'll do this song. And of course, then I started to say, hey, Mark, that wasn't one of our ones on our list. Then I guess he commenced to tell me how there's a reason why there's people like me and people like him.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, because, you know, I'll always just be what I am, playing behind people like him, because I don't stay on top of things, even though it was a song we never was given.
yeah.
So we go, all right, fine. I just say, oh, we'll learn it in the meantime. And even Sandy had done told him, hey, you know, hey, no disrespect. We played together, you know, at the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, but we didn't do this on the set list. So finally I say, and speak of the devil, flyby, Sandy Gennaro.
Hey.
Who am I talking to here?
Hey. Oh, this is the guy.
Larry and Curly.
Hey, we got this guy. Hey, Sandy. How you doing?
Man? Good.
Actually, we're the show Musings, Rants, and Guitars. I am Joey and
Tommy.
Lenny, and that's Tommy, and then there's Lenny.
Boy.
Two of us came to see you at the wonderful place that you played, the Red River Inn out in Yaphank, Long Island. Do you remember that wonderful show? There was a packed house. There's probably 50,000 people there.
It's like a living room.
Or 12?
Fireplace in the
Living
corner,
I vaguely remember it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like hazing right now.
Sweep that one under the rug.
That was, yeah. That was. I would imagine it would be hazy because that was not a. It was not a great venue, but you guys played great. Anyway, I wanted to say is, we saw you there. It was you guys were fantastic.
What year was that? Do you remember the year?
Yeah, 2014. I think Lenny, yours was 2015. You went to see them, right?
Yeah, it was
Next
a year after.
Yeah.
That's that place that Roger and
That's
Linda
right.
came out.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Awesome.
So
Hey,
it was
so-
great. Yeah,
so-
you were fantastic. It was good. It's glad to see you guys playing together again. You know?
Oh, it's going to be.
Ah, we're
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
it tonight.
I bet. So,
So real quick, back to the story was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
See,
ju-
you guys, I'll leave you to your own guitar device.
So at that point, I was like, okay, look, we'll learn the song real quick. We'll learn it. You
Yeah,
know? And then
5
of
minutes,
course I made the mistake of going, you play it in the original key, right? You don't play it in a different key or whatever. Of course, then he chewed me out over that question. So we kick into it on stage that night, and guess what? Something went different key. He played it cool, got out of it, kind of that's a little tease of that. We kicked into the next song. And we finished the set. Of course, after the show, I'm thanking the crew guys, which I would always do. Hey, great job. Thanks. Appreciate it. This, that, the other. By the time I go through the green room into the dressing room, there's Ronnie and Mark and Pat. And next thing you know, I'm getting drugged through the mud. And about that time, I come walking around the corner and I see Mark and Pat, and my Bud Light bottle goes whoop, 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 right between the two and hit the wall. And then I'm like, damn it, foreigner, because it's like, hey, if you want to say something, just say it to me.
right.
Now, in the meantime, Mr. Positive Energy, Ronnie Montrose,
Whatever he needs.
he jumps up and runs out of there into the green room.
Yeah.
So now, by the time Kirk comes along,
Yeah.
Ronnie's sitting in the chair and he's just like, don't go in there, man. Bad energy. Don't
like-
go in there.
He's like, I go, what's going on, man? He's like, Rodney's energy is just so. And I go, what? It's crazy, man.
So next thing you know, the crew guys, they are like, hey, man, did you know a beer bottle like Mark Farner? And they're like, high five. So, and of course, me and Mark, the next morning we meet up for the airport and there's hugs and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
And we go on and pass. And since then, we've crossed paths quite a bit. And it's no harm, no foul. It's all cool.
Cool.
But every now and then I'll get out in the Midwest and they'll say, like, hey, you're that guy that threw the beer bottle at Mark Farner.
Yeah.
But here's a good thing about being in charge of business, because see, this was a thing that I put together with this promoter. We co-produced this. So to punish me, I'm going to teach you, he calls the other guy, hey, I'm not playing with Rodney no more. So the other guy goes, well, you can bring your own bass player. You got to pay him out of your money. You got to buy his flight and his hotel room out of your money.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very first show we did that I was actually, now I'm standing off the side of the stage while they're playing, I'm getting that smirk about like, I'm showing you're not playing with me now. In the meantime, I'm going, you know what? This isn't affecting my money at all.
Yeah.
I'm actually making more money now because I'm not working.
You're not working it, right.
Yeah, it was funny because on that show, I was just figured after the whole beer bottle debacle, I was like, well, I better step out too, because he would like yell and shit at me on stage and stuff. He'd like,
Yeah.
he'd like, do this. I was like one of those guys, like real cool off stage, but on stage,
Yeah,
like, oh,
I mean,
God
it's like
damn.
since then. I mean, a matter of fact, there wasn't too, a couple of years ago. I was like going through the airport and I freaking hear someone yelling, and I turn around. Sure enough, it's him. And it's
Yeah,
like
he's
we
cool,
talk for a
man.
while.
Yeah.
I mean, off stage, totally cool,
Yeah.
cool. We, and like I said, everything's
Yeah.
been super cool since then. But
Yeah.
it's a little tense.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up playing that night with him. And he's like, you gonna play? I was like, yeah, I guess so. If you want me to. Are you sure about this? So it wasn't him yelling at me, it was the bass player yelling at me instead of him. So,
Oh well.
Oh well, yeah.
Oh, well.
Anyway, whatever. And, yeah,
That was a Spinal
Fun.
Tap moment.
that was a good one.
Yeah.
What other ones? Some of the travel arrangements, of course, were
Oh yeah.
Spinal Tap moments.
Yeah, there was one time, of course, you know, I always joke and say, who the hell planned this tour?
It's you.
But we went to Europe and we hit the ground running. I mean, we hit the ground and we played 13 shows, no days off. We'd already covered a couple of countries. And then we got into the UK and played, we finished up in London. We played Scotland and a couple of areas in the UK, and we finished up in London. Then our first official day off, we got on a flight and flew from Heathrow to Chihuahua, Mexico.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Then we had a day off after that, and then we played a festival down there. Then we flew from there into Germany and hit the ground running, and I think we did another 13 in a row before we had a day off.
Another couple of weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was always the joke. Because we talk, you know, on Facebook talking about our travels and what we're doing, and people's like, "Who the hell did that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, who the hell did that?" Wait, I did.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was one of those good deals there.
God.
It was a lot of fun though.
I
Yeah,
bet.
it was.
Kurt got his Mexican wrestling mask.
Ooh, those
Hell yeah.
are nice to have.
A luchador mask.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we were talking about this earlier today. Guys, seriously, this cracks me up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we got into Mexico, I always carried all the money and stuff. So I exchanged a certain amount of peso, over to get pesos. That way, if anyone wants anything, just come hit me up, and I'll pay for it. So we go in, and Kurt and Sandy's trying these masks on, this, that, the other. We're laughing and cutting up, taking pictures. And in the meantime, now we walk down a few stores, and then Kurt comes up to me. He just kind of gets up next to me, head down. He's like, "Hey, man, I'd kind of like to have one of those masks." And I'm like, well, all right, we could go get one. So we go get one. Now, fast forward a week later, we're in Germany on the Autobahn. No, we've gotten to a town now, so there's a lot of traffic around. I'm asleep, and I wake up and I look over, and here's Kurt with the mask on, with his hands up against the glass of the Sprinter van, making faces at cars as they go by.
You get bored, man.
You get bored, I
Shit,
know.
I don't care, man.
There's only so much you can do in these bands.
I know, it's like, what are we gonna do now to entertain
7
ourselves?
hours.
That's great.
Crazy, man.
Oh man.
I
Anyway.
read Good Housekeeping in German already. Get me
Yeah, no,
something to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that probably we like I said, you got to wait for some people to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
You know what?
off the record, maybe.
Yeah. off the record.
Yeah.
And you can find this on YouTube if you dig deep enough.
Oh shit.
We were playing Rib America Fest in Indianapolis. And this was a bad time for somebody. And it's kind of like leading the blind, you know what I'm saying? Someone that was definitely on a different planet, couldn't see
Right.
or nothing.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
I had already known that this wasn't going to be good. So the first thing I did, and this is relationships, the guy that we did the tour package thing with, he was actually the promoter for this show.
Frank, right?
Yeah, Frank. And so he was the promoter for it. And so I'm going to him and said, we got a problem. And so then we get with the actual buyer, and our whole thing is, hey, Pat's real sick, and we're playing the whole angle, man. He's got this high fever. We really don't think he should go on, but he insists he wants to perform. So now Frank stays near the buyer and sugarcoats that angle. Foghat was actually going on after us. I got with Foghat's front of house guy, slipped some money. I said, look, if you need to, bury him in the mix. If vocals, guitar, whatever, bury him in the mix if he gets out of track.
Right.
Meantime, I get with Kirk, and this is just actually this is the last gig this other drummer did with us, because it was like the breaking point. When he got home and got off the plane, he's like, "That's it, I'm
That's
not
it."
going again." And that's when Sandy came in. But I get with Kirk and Sean. I said, no matter what, once we get into the song, no matter what Pat's doing, ignore him and just kick ass and just rock.
Yeah.
So we'd always started the set where we'd ring out a G chord and finally drop it to an E, and then we would get into the song. If you look, there is a YouTube video where we ring that G chord for 2 minutes and 32 seconds.
Yeah.
I would, every now and then I would go over and I would just kind of come up next to Pat and I would,
Yo, we're changing this.
and it finally got to the point that we couldn't get him to go to the next part for us to get into the song. That there's pictures of me and him. We're just just looking at the sky, just laughing. We're almost crying.
It's a festival audience. I mean,
festival, big outdoor festival, packed.
Wow.
Crazy.
So now we're like, I would kind of keep Pat nudged each song once we made it through. And then it became, all right, man, we got about 40 minutes left. Yeah, man, 3 songs. No. 40 minutes, 3 songs. So now we play one more song, and then all of a sudden it's like, I gotta go somewhere. Someone's telling me I gotta do something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
See y'all later. In the meantime, I'm smiling, going, look, man, we got 30 more minutes, you know? So now it's like, why didn't you tell me? Why am I the last to know?
Anyway, we lived on that one.
We lived on that one, man.
Oh,
I tell you what, it through all the bumps, bruises, this, that, the other, man, it was an honor.
It was so
Yeah.
It was
fun.
definitely an
Yeah.
honor.
There's some great stories, but it was awesome to be able to play that music all the time.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just
we're going to do it tonight.
Yep.
just
Yeah.
great
Yeah,
fucking songs to play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Really.
Yeah.
definitely
So-
looking forward to it.
What we like to talk about gear a lot. What are you guys currently using for gear?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
what's
What
the
do you-
deal, man?
Man, I'm like, I'm all over the place. Like whatever.
yeah,
the
I
gig
know. I
calls
follow you
for.
on Facebook. Stalk. I follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I do. I mean, I've had a deal with Black Star, and
Mhm.
I use that on like tonight. I'll be using that. Like it's an old. It's like the first model that came out with no distortion on it, you know.
Right.
And it's a real good platform for pedals.
Yeah,
I
that's,
use-
that's a
that's-
good amp.
That's
That-
Yeah.
what Waddy uses, right? Waddy Wachtel uses
Yeah.
that too, right?
yeah, same one. That's a
Yeah.
great amp, especially for pedals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the variable power thing on it and stuff,
Right.
and that's really cool. And I use this. I work with a company out of Nashville called Exact Tone Solutions, and a buddy of mine started that company, and they're doing the racks and pedal boards for Nashville guys now. They were one of the first ones to do a rack for some country band. I think like Taylor Swift latched onto it, but it's all you just show up and all the stuff is like programmed in the rack or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it switches on a time code and stuff. They
Right.
were one of the first ones to do it. Now everybody's doing it because they want it to be pristine and all that stuff. And
Right.
so you basically just bring your guitar, and all the tones are programmed by the producer, you know, stuff. I mean, the modeling thing is weird, but you know, it
Yeah,
feels
yeah, I get
okay.
it. Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
not a big guy like that, but for convenience and stuff,
Yeah, I get
it
it.
is what it is, you know. But anyway, but I use that, and I have a Naylor 38 watts that I like a lot too.
Okay.
And then lately been doing the Strat thing a lot, just regular Strat, nothing. I bought this Mexican Strat and I love it. And I know it's like you pick something up and it feels right, you know, just
Yeah.
do it, you know.
Yeah.
That's my
what
Strat
it
back
is.
there is a Mexican Strat.
Yeah. And an SG. I got a 61 reissue SG I play.
Right.
And then the James Tyler Studio Elite for the more, you know,
Cool.
varied things. And I kind of got off the Paul Reed thing a little bit.
Right.
You know, my ears started changing, and I noticed, not to get too in depth about it, but the scale length I think has something to do with it. They're 25, and 24 3/4. You don't think it would make that much of a difference, but it does.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely does.
Yeah.
And there's a mid. They cut through the mix, but there's something that I think we all crave, and it's that older.
Oh, my wife will tell you 3/4 of an inch makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Especially at the truck stops.
yeah, exactly. So you would think it would, but it does anyway. But no,
I'm telling you, it does.
yeah. So I kind of got away from those, and I was kind of always craving this more kind of warmer thing. And the Gibson and the Fenders, Fenders are real open sounding to me,
Yep.
and then the Gibsons have that nice kind of warm thing.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, and trying to think of anything else I'm using. I'm using TC chorus, TC delay, the flashbacks.
Flashback, okay.
And then I'm using an EP boost.
Yeah.
Yep.
As well in there for boosting the leads, and then also I got this. I saw Steve Stevens playing that the Ricochet pedal.
Okay.
The Digitech. It's kind of like a whammy pedal, but it's on a momentary switch. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I've been using that a lot, and people go, "What the fuck is that?"
Right. Wow. I remember when you were playing with Pat, going back 6 years. Were you guys using? Because I can't help but look at the pedals. You guys were both using. Was it a Black Star Overdrive or something? Right.
Yeah, the Black Star, the HT Dual.
Yeah.
I love that pedal too. Mine broke, and I might be getting another one here shortly.
Yeah.
I
just happened to remember that. That's different shit that I remember.
Yeah, they sound real good through. It's like a real clean channel on a Fender or like an old Marshall with a non-master volume thing.
Yeah.
But like if you're trying to run it through something that's more like a combo with a overdrive on it, it's too much compression for me personally. Yeah. But
Right.
very, very cool pedal. Those are great, but they're kind of weird. They don't have the right power. They have this 12.
Oh, really?
Whole thing. Yeah, it's a twist. You have to use a separate thing. Yeah.
Right.
So.
All right. So you got to bring a brick with you, and then okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
Rodney, what about you
on
on the what are you using for basses?
Oh, well, I mean, I've got a fretted Tony Franklin model that I've got back with Pat, that still kick around and play.
Right.
Fender, it's basically a hopped up, jazz bass,
Yeah.
not jazz, excuse me, precision with the jazz pickup
right.
in the rear. Then I got a guy in Pittsburgh built me a bass, Landing Guitars. He builds bass. Actually, his real niche is he actually builds short scale basses, and usually that's hard to get really tight, punchy low end out of. But somehow he's figured it out, and he actually has one that he built. One model he's got that actually looks just like a Stratocaster, and it even has the pickups layout in it like a Strat, but it's a bass, and it's a short scale bass. Ray Beebe's got one. Yeah. But I mean, they're awesome looking. But now I got one with him, regular long scale, 34-inch scale, but it's two jazz pickups. It's kind of got a jazz look, but the headstock on it's like the old Telly bass.
Yeah.
But it's a real meaty, punchy bass.
Yeah,
I love it.
Nice.
I still got some Spectres at home. I haven't brought them out in a while, but I won't get rid of my Spectres. I'm a diehard Spectre guy.
Right.
When I was with Pat, I carried a TC Electronics RH 750 head on the road. Loved it because I could throw it in a shoulder bag and just powerhouse,
Right.
Love it.
But I kind of simplified things when I got with Foghat, because with them, their rider, they pretty much get what they ask for, or someone gets their ass chewed out. So at that rate, I've just kind of simplified, and I'm either using Ampeg Classics, or every now and then I'll switch it up and go to the GK 1001 heads, and then I carry my trusty Sands amp everywhere.
Right.
You can't lose by having one of them.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But other than that, I just kind of keep it simple.
Awesome.
I'm a bass player. I don't need a bunch of pedals and sorcery.
I'm saying, man.
Isn't that so true, right? Bass players always seem to have like they're always very cool. They can always talk well, and yet their gear is so they manage to always make it sound great. So, how about you guys got a piece of gear of the week that's like new, something new for you, or that it really turned you on, or?
Man, I am so out of the gear loop right now. I've kind of went down in a rabbit hole once the virus thing hit. I've actually haven't even been on Facebook much. I haven't really been looking at gear. I'm actually hoping I can remember to play because I really haven't even played since the pandemic hit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It changes. Like it's kind of. I'm trying to think of something, man. I really don't have anything that I kind of just gravitate. I try to give love to all my guitars, all 20 of them, and keep them on rotation.
Baby, you're so good to me.
So,
baby, you're so good to me.
And then it's like, do I want another one? No, I don't know. Do I need this? It's like,
right. Now, Tommy, on the other hand, has a major fucking problem with OCD pedals, and he just finally went the way that I'd went, and I have, I have the standard,
Yeah.
But it never made it to a board.
I got one of the OCD pedals.
He's got
cool.
So, but
every
anyway,
version.
Every version.
Yeah.
What is it?
Germanium.
Germanium.
Really?
I have the Germanium one, and that one, I have a 18-watt Reinhardt. It sounds so good because the 18-watt you can just pin everything and not kill everybody, but with the Germanium, even with a Les Paul, it in a green back with it, it sounds like you're playing Hendrix and at Winterland. It just
that's awesome.
The whole thing just completely goes nuts, and it's so good. And it's such a the OCDs have a specific sound. They're all a little different, but this one's a little smoother than the other ones. It's pretty cool, and it works great with that amp. But every pedal works a little differently. What I did pick up this week, though, because it was on sale.
It's probably another OCD.
No, it's almost an OCD.
But ask him about the Joyo.
I did. But look, I got this Earthquaker Plumes.
Okay, yeah, Plumes, yeah.
And it's a great sounding tube screamer. I mean, it's clean. It's got a lot. I mean, it's got a lot of headroom too, because the boost. If you put it in the boost setting, it really is a great sounding pedal. But as a tube screamer, it does a killer job at that. It's quiet, and it crushes. I have a Jubilee, and the Jubilee seems to like tube screamers. It doesn't like other stuff. That's the way it is. And this one sounds great with that. So that's what I've done. But also, what I finally did was break down, and it's coming this week. I got one of those Joyo pedals that are $35.
Yeah, the Ultimate Drive.
Another OCD. Yeah, the Ultimate Drive. It looks
which is just an OCD that somebody else rehoused, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody rehoused the Joyo,
right?
Filled it up with goop, and then they were reselling it for like $225 a piece.
Okay, you know what's really crazy about this, like from my point of view, listening to talk about all these pedals.
Oh boy.
Okay. Sometimes my mind works in a weird way, but of all things, listening to you talk about multiple pedals and each one's different, this damn Poison song came in my head, and it was like every version. Oh no, every version has its tone.
I don't know what you're talking about, but Cece and I are just going to go back to our room and just play.
Dude, you got to play like fast, like the whole time.
I'm sorry. I didn't pick everything. Hang on.
Yeah, like it's is that the inside of your head? What the fuck, Dude, I went and saw him, I guess, with the crew a few years ago, and he just played fast the whole. Like, he didn't play the rhythm hardly at all. It's just like I was going.
Just really,
dude, crazy.
Wow.
Anyway,
he's absolutely out of his mind. So
yeah, he is.
He really is.
Craziness, but that's cool, man. All that stuff's great. I think sometimes when you I found that it always kind of sounds like me.
Yeah,
no
I
matter
know.
what you do,
too.
it
You know, I
does.
know. It's
Absolutely.
like it's a real weird thing, and not that I'm like super identifiable, but I can always kind of approach something that maybe I don't. That's not my regular thing, and I can find a way to make it work. You know, massage it and make it work in my favor. So
Yeah, I've always found that I am equally as shitty no matter what equipment I use.
no, that ain't true.
That's
It's like
why
having
you
your
got.
own signature sound.
Yeah,
As I,
yeah.
It's shitty, but it's a signature sound.
it's signature.
It's a brown tone. Brown sound.
as I told, there's a guy, Classic Rock Revisited, guy named Jeb writer for them. We were at Moondance Jam, and he was talking about, hey man, your stage presence and this, that, the other. And I just told him, and as well, to kind of define it off of what you're doing. It's like sometimes you just got to rely on some rock and roll hocus pocus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
when all else fails, just plug in.
So, how about we talk
Yeah.
about our great section called the Fuck You section? All right. So, the Fuck You section is somebody that drives you crazy because they are so talented. You got to turn around and say to them, fuck you. Why are you playing so good? You know, like, how do you get that talent? You know, like, did the hand of God come down and touch you or something? Like, who really does it for either one of you guys?
And it gets better every time you hear it or see it.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys want an example?
Oh, I got one.
You got one? Okay, yeah, let's go for it. What do you got?
We did this thing. Pat and I went on tour. We were doing this thing with Edgar Winter, Rick Derringer, and Rare Earth, or 10 Years After, or whatever.
I think it was Rare
Earth, or something like that. No, God, whatever. Can't Heat.
Can't Heat. That's it.
So anyway, we were using Edgar's rhythm section, and it's Jason Carpenter and Coco Powell, and so we're like backstage, and Doug Rappaport, if you don't know him, you should check him out. Anyway, so we're backstage, and I was like, this guy's like really good, you know, watching him and stuff like that. And I had my Strat backstage, and he came by. He's, hey man, what's going on? We were tucking and stuff, and he goes, can I play your Strat? I go, yeah. We sat there for like an hour, and I'm just sitting there with my fucking jaw on the floor. I swear to God, I'm going. There's not anybody who's made me want to quit playing, but I came real close to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's exactly what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
He's
wow.
Most unsung cat on the planet, and I tell him this shit all the time too. So
Yeah, dude's awesome.
But he really blew my head off that night, because he does one thing with Edgar, you know, shredding and doing all that stuff, but when you see him just playing by himself, and I'm going, this guy, if he had the vehicle, because you have to have the vehicle, you have to have the wheels, the interior, the body, the gasoline,
some good shock absorbers.
right? You got to have everything. You know, you can have a souped up engine, and but that's part of it.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm just like, man, the world needs to hear this guy, you know, because this guy's so great. And I tell him that shit all the time. But he's probably my, fuck you guy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fuck you, Doug.
Fuck you, Doug.
Funny. The funny way. This is actually how our channel started. Is me and Tommy started talking about it, and there were guys that are, so those guys that, maybe they sing, maybe they play guitar, maybe they do everything. And it started with Tommy and I, with Richie Kotzen and Ian Thornley from Big Wreck. Those guys that are so talented and they sing great. And Pat falls in that too. Pat was, a great singer and a great guitar player, So I'll do a quick fuck you to Pat for being that guy too.
Definitely.
Yeah. Rodney, who do you got?
Dude, there's so many of them.
Yeah, that's the problem too.
Yeah, I mean, really, still to date, to me, I mean, I got turned on to bootleg Talus tapes when they were still a club band. There was a guy that had moved from Buffalo down to Florida, and I would go see him play. And he was like, oh, man, you got to check this guy out. You got to check this guy out. And he just had bootleg board tapes from Talus playing clubs. And still to this day, it doesn't matter what he gets involved in. It's just amazing the stuff that Billy Sheehan pulls out his ass when he plays bass.
Yeah.
So to me, Billy, fuck you, and I mean it
He's
with much love
He'll
and
actually,
respect.
he'll actually see this.
he'll see this.
And total Christian love.
Billy was on the show
Yeah,
just
in
3
total
weeks ago.
Christian love, I say.
Yeah, he was on the show 3 weeks ago. He's
Yeah.
easy
That
guy to talk to.
Nice.
What a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sweet.
Really is.
We had
You know?
seen him as young men in Tallis playing down in New York at a few places, and just he was fully formed at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, he was.
He was, he wasn't. We talk about, Yngwie all of a sudden Yngwie when he showed up was Yngwie.
Yeah.
That was, and nothing's changed, but he was 21, and that's where he came. And same thing, seeing Billy Sheehan as a young man, just is like full stage show, full voice, full playing, everything.
It was the whole package
Yeah.
early on.
The real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of those guys that is definitely the real deal.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what project he's involved in. I mean, he has his signature. I mean, it's him.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I
David
can't
Lee,
play
Mr.
the thing
Big,
like that.
the
Might
Winery
as well
Dogs.
use it as a coffee table or something.
Yeah. Very talented man.
He played a little bit on the show, and you just sit there and just go, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's incredible. Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I know
we're
my daughter
we're
was
so
watching the
fortunate.
show upstairs, and she was like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
Yeah. What
It's
is
just
that
crazy
noise?
shit.
Yeah, we're just so fortunate to have grown up in a time where there was just that kind of magical thing, and it had longevity to it. The wave was real long. We got to experience it a lot, and you can, I can't imagine now being like, oh, well, that was last week, now.
Yeah.
How people are just so last week or whatever.
Right.
That's tiring, or they can't sit and watch a whole video and that sort of thing. But
They're definitely not putting on whole albums. I mean, like,
yeah.
I'm in an original band, and we're like, are we going to put a full album, or we just going to throw out singles? Because it's nobody sits down to listen to an album. There's no such thing, really. It's a rough. It's a rough part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now going back, every time we have these conversations, with people who I like to think as friends now, we go back and listen to the entire album. I mean, you listen to, a Pat Travers record from beginning to end, and you're like, this was made. A lot of them were made to listen from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Hey, remember when radio stations actually used to play an album start to finish?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Midnight Record or
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh my God! I remember.
Yeah.
One of the first times that ELP came out with like Works and Works 2, and the record and the radio station was playing it at midnight. I stayed up and listened to the entire thing of ELP Works. I don't think I could listen to it now, but just
Right.
Yeah.
that's I was introduced to stuff like I grew up my parents listening to the Beatles and the Stones. I mean, I've listened to every single one of those records, flipped over. It's just
Man. That's
those days.
recently got into I got a buddy of mine who has a turntable, and I took all my vinyl over there. I mean, we just listened to it, and it just sounds totally different.
Yeah.
And it's like it's an experience, man.
Yeah. That. I really miss that. And
There's nothing like a double album for cleaning weed.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Well,
I don't think they even clean weed anymore. Fuck.
When you opened up the gateway, you had like really cool art.
Yeah.
And then you always got like the little things on the inside, like buy this, buy that, or little whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Or you got a damn Kiss Love Gun pop gun.
I was just thinking the same thing. The pop gun.
I had that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think we all had that.
Yeah, me too. That's
Oh
awesome.
wow.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
guys. Well, guys, it's been really great. Well,
What a blast.
man, a
you
lot of
guys
fun.
have
Thank
really
y'all.
been
Thank y'all.
fantastic with this. I want you guys to hold on a minute, and we'll be all right.
Have a great show tonight.
Yeah. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
thank you, guys.
Take it easy, guys.
Thank you.
I just have to remember how to stop this. Okay.